Welcome to this Night Lord conversion and painting commission vlog. It's coming right up. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to learn about Necrons and more, then please subscribe and hit the bell button to turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so today's vlog is of me doing a commission of a Night Lord mini. I'm going to build and convert it, and I'm going to paint it. I'm really happy with the results. The client seems really happy with the results, so hopefully you will like it too. Don't forget to let me know in the comments box below what you think of my work. Okay, roll the vlog. Okay, so this is the miniature that I am going to build and paint for this commission. It's a Horus Heresy Space Marine Legion Vigilator. Not quite sure what that is. It looks like it could be a scout leader maybe. It's got a cloak on there and an unusual gun, but I don't 100% know. Anyway, in terms of painting him, he is going to be a Night Lord's model. So dark blue with obviously the lightning effects on. And I've had a request to paint the cloak on the outside in urban camo, which will be fun to do, and the rest of it I can paint however I like. Now in terms of building, I've been asked to put on the helmeted head, because you get two heads on this model, and then not to base him. The client's going to base him himself. I've also had a request to do something with the shoulder pads. So the request is to put the loose shoulder pad that it comes with onto the right arm, which I'm assuming actually means the left arm, the right arm as you look at it, because it's this shoulder pad which is loose in the box. Now this area is covered up with the cloak, so there's definitely going to be some work needed there. I've also been asked to maybe add some skulls to the model as well, maybe hanging down. Now of course I've opened this up already. Actually I've washed and dried all of the bits that are currently in this box. Just having a closer look at this shoulder pad here, as you can see, it is totally covered on the right hand side of the shoulder pad with the cloak. It's just the front sticking out, so I need to work out how I'm going to put this shoulder pad on there, which has quite a bit of detail. So one option is to maybe cut this shoulder pad very carefully, and then maybe cut this shoulder pad out so that I could put this in its place. Potentially cut around the cloak area as well to stick the whole shoulder pad on, and then green stuff over the top. Or maybe just take this design and just green stuff that design onto the shoulder pad myself. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think the first thing I'm going to do is clean up all of these pieces, take them off the sprue, clean all the mould lines off, and then I'm going to assess the situation on that shoulder pad. Okay, so I've done a lot of work on these pieces, just the shoulder pad conversion to go, and yeah, I'm quite happy how it's coming along. Now as you can see, I haven't really glued much together, and the reason for that is I'm going to paint most of it sub-assembly. So let's have a chat about what I did. So the only thing really that I've glued is the little knife handle just there. There's quite a lot of mould lines on this cape along this side, so I had to file them all down, and there was a hole which I filled in with green stuff. And then on the legs I drilled a hole in the bottom and I put a pin which I'll use the cork to paint the legs. And I haven't glued them onto the body just because, well, it's going to be easier to paint them. I also drilled out the gun barrels on the gun itself and on the gun on the backpack. Now on the backpack I did find a little skull, and I've put a little skull on a chain dangling down there, and I've also got another skull ready to glue on, but I can't glue that on until I've got the arms in place. My plan is to have the gun attached to the shoulder pad there, and the other arm will be attached to the model itself, and then I'll paint this separately, which means that until I've got all of the pieces in place, I can't really do much with this. This will be glued to the back of the shoulder pad, so it will be dangling down behind his shoulder. Right, so all that I've got left to do is this shoulder pad here, and I had a good think about what I'm going to do, and I have decided that I'm going to green stuff the Night Lord's symbol onto here. However, rather than green stuffing a skull and the wings, because I think the skull would be quite difficult to green stuff, I've actually found a skull and I've clipped and trimmed and filed it. It's going to be quite fiddly, but that is going to go onto the shoulder pad like that. It's half hidden underneath the cloak, but I've got it into a central position. So all I've got to do now is green stuff the little wings on there as well to give me the Night Lord symbol. So that will be my next task. Once that's done, I can glue the arms in and the gun, etc., as I was going to do, and the little chain, and then it will be ready for painting. Okay, he is done, ready to be primed and painted. So let's have a quick look at my green stuff work. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a bit closer. Okay, there you go, hopefully you can see it. As you can see, I've got the plastic skull there, and then I did some green stuff work on the little wings for the Night Lords. I also did a little triangle on the shoulder pad rim just to make it into a chaos shoulder pad a little bit more. I then glued in this arm just in here. On the other side, I've glued the arm together, so we've got the shoulder pad, the gun, and also the hanging skull. I did have to do some green stuff filling because it didn't quite match up when I was putting it together, but it is now. So that shoulder pad goes into there, and then his arm will be glued onto the little hands there. So that's how that section is looking. So I am now all ready to paint. Okay, so here we are at my paint station, and I've now primed this guy black. I've also attached the two pinned ones to a cork. These corks are magnetised, and there's a magnetisation strip at the bottom, so they just stand there. So I've got my reference material just there. Of course, this guy's going to be Night Lord's, so I am going to start with the Night Lord's colour. I'm going to paint all of the armour in Cantor blue. Okay, that is the blue down. I did 3 thin coats, got a nice even colour. So now I can start laying down the rest of the base coats. Okay, so here we go. I've done all of the base coats. I'm at my table so you can get a better look at it. So I'm really happy with what I've done. I did 2 or 3 thin coats just to build up the colours. I started off with the leather, so I did some little leather pouches on the backpack and on his waist there. I then went in with some gold and silver, just introducing all the different colours. Bone colour, of course, on the skulls. I gave the gun quite a lot of detail, painting it black and silver. I wanted it to stand out because actually a lot of this detail will be covered, but I'm still going to paint it anyway, just in case there's a little nook or cranny that you can see into, and then you'll be able to see that, of course, it's painted. Now, I painted the Night Lord's symbol here with this red colour, and then I started to introduce the red colour into a few other areas, like on this guy's shoulder pad on that side, and also onto some of the wires on the backpack and onto the gun. However, I felt I needed another colour with this model because I didn't want to paint everything red. I wanted to introduce a new colour, and that colour was green. So I went to the colour wheel. Green goes really well with red and blue, so I thought it was a great choice of colour, but I didn't want a really bright green because, well, the blue and the red is quite dark. So I went for Caliban green. I painted the straps on his chest plate in green, and then also some of the wires on the backpack and on the gun in green as well. That just introduced that green colour. And then I also did some of the eye lenses in green, so we've got a green one and a red one here, and also on the backpack it's green on the back, and if I turn it round, hopefully you'll see that, you've got green on the front as well. Now as for the cloak, I've been asked to do urban camouflage on the outside but not the inside, so I needed a colour for the inside of the cloak, and I thought, well, just go for a dark grey. So we've got dark grey on the inside, and then on the outside is a light grey. Now this is all ready to be washed, and then I'll do the camo pattern on it. And I'm really liking how it's looking. It's Ishin grey on the inside, and the outside is Dawnstone grey. Right, I'm all ready to do the washes. I'm going to pin wash the blue, so just in the recesses, and that's going to happen on the cloak as well, and then the rest of it will be washed all over with their various colours. So brown will get a brown wash, red will get a red wash, etc. Okay, so I've just washed everything. It's amazing how much a wash can change a model, and now we come to the fun part of highlighting it. However, I have been working on the camo cloak and it's now finished. Ta-da! So yeah, I went in with white and did some white patches. I then went in with a green grey and did some patches of that. And then went in with a dark grey and did some patches of that. And then I washed everything with a grey wash, and that is the result. I am really liking it. I have to be honest, I do think that looks very cool. Right, I am now ready to highlight the rest of this miniature. Okay, so that's the highlighting finished, except for the blue armour, because I don't have the correct blue colours as requested by the client. So I've ordered some blue highlighting paint, 2 different ones, but I have finished all of the other highlighting. So for the leather I used Morphang Brown and Snakebite Leather. That's the old paint, not the new contrast one, and I mixed them together. Then I did a final highlight of Snakebite, and then I used Evil Sun Scarlet and Wild Rider Red to highlight the red. I used War Boss Green mixed in with the Caliban Green to do the highlights of the green, gradually making them lighter. I did a few effects on some of the little lenses as well. The gold and silver I just highlighted with the corresponding base colour and then a lighter version of that. And then for the skulls I used Ushabti Bone, and then I added some white to the mix just to make it a bit lighter. The edge highlighting on the black was done with Ishin Grey and then Dawnstone Grey. And then for the cloak at the bottom on the inside I highlighted with a few glazes of light grey. You can't really see the inside of the cloak too much when it's put together, but at least it is highlighted. And that was everything done. So all I've got left is the blue to highlight and of course do some lightning effects. Now I did have a look at this big chest plate here. I could put lightning on there. However, that's totally covered up by the gun when it's all glued into position. So the only place for lightning seems to be on the legs. But first of all, of course, I need to highlight the blue once the paint arrives. Okay, so I've had my delivery. We've got Aliotic blue and we've got Hoth blue. So I am going to edge highlight the blue. Okay, so that's the first highlights done, and I have to say, after painting some old school Chaos miniatures from Games Workshop, the sculpt on this guy is really crisp and clean. I had no issues at all edge highlighting. Each little edge was just so crisp. So that's the first highlight down. Let's get on to the second one. Okay, so that's that coat done and I'm nearly finished. Of course, like I said, when I glue this together, some of the work that I've done will be hidden, but at least I know that the whole model is painted. Right, so now I'm going to do the lightning effects. Okay, so the lightning effects are done. In the end, I did do some on this big plate here. I know it's going to be covered, but to be honest, I wanted to practice because I've never done lightning before. However, I used Lothan blue and then I went over that with some white. And I've done the legs as well, and that is how the legs are looking. I have done some on the back as well, although again, most of that will be covered by the cloak, but I'm really happy with it. So all I've got to do now is glue it together and you can see the final results. Bearing in mind, of course, the client is going to do his own base.